Hi, I'm Paul Friedman. I'm the founder of the Marriage Foundation. And here at the Marriage Foundation, we're all about not focusing on the past. If you've been looking at separating to help save your marriage, that's what this topic is about. Can separation from your spouse help save your marriage? Usually people ask this question because they're in couples counseling, and the counselor made this suggestion. And I can't even imagine. I used to be a divorce mediator, and I got to tell you that many of my clients at that time, it's well over 20 years ago, went from a quote unquote trial separation to a divorce. And that is the trajectory, isn't it? If you if you separate, you're on a different trajectory than healing your marriage. Healing your marriage is what you want. Let's go further. What you want is you want your marriage to be filled with harmony, right? You want it to be filled with love and with joy. Why did you get married? You know, the current state of affairs with marriage counseling out there is pretty bad, because not because of the counselors, they're good people, but they've been mistrained. So we're starting to train marriage counselors in the right way. But if your marriage counselor is saying, let's do a trial separation, they know that you're on your way out. And I wonder what their particular agenda is, because I don't think really good ones ever suggest that. They're thinking, oh boy, I'm going to have 2 new clients after these people get a divorce. You don't want to do that. What do you want to do instead? Well, what is it that you want? The man usually says, well, I want peace. I can't take it the way it is. I mean, I'm constantly blah, 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 right? And the wife is going, well, blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, that's what you've been doing. Why? You don't know any better. It's not your fault. It's not her fault. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's not her fault. We're not taught about marriage at all. And that's what we're doing at the Marriage Foundation. We're teaching about marriage, so it becomes pretty obvious. You learned about driving a car. You know that when you run out of fuel, you don't pour water in the fuel tank. That's not going to get you anywhere. It's going to destroy the engine. Yet you've been doing all these things to destroy your marriage. Like this, for example. But there's other things too. There's too much criticism, complaining. Think of your marriage as a vessel, okay? I call it the sacred space of marriage. There's just 2 of you in there, and this is a container. Now, I use the word sacred because love is a very spiritual reality. Love is as spiritual as it gets. It's not material, it's spiritual. And it is the height of spirituality. Love is what, as a human being, we all seek. It's what we're striving for, to experience love. When you look at the lives of saints, that's all they're looking for, is love. And they find it, which is how they become saints. And sure, they have trials to get there, and you have trials to get there too. They're just like us, except that was the path that they chose. As not quite as lofty beings, you might say, as they are, we're just regular human beings. We still can have love and joy. God created us all equally. And so in marriage is a perfect setup to achieve love and joy, but we don't learn how. So we take each other for granted. We abuse one another. I mean, I wish I could say, well, here's the level that is not abuse, here's the level that is abuse. Well, I think that, you know, if you put an unfair expectation on your partner, that's abuse too. There shouldn't be any abuse in your marriage. 0. It's going to happen from time to time. We're only human. But it's become normal to mistreat each other, to raise our voice, to have demands, expectations. It's become normal. And we need to begin by learning, what are we doing here? What is marriage all about? How can I turn mine around? Well, if you're at the point of thinking about separating, you should think about getting the course for men or the course for women, depending on which one you are, and learn everything about marriage there is to know. Learn about the benefits. We don't focus on the things you shouldn't do. We talk about the things that you need to do. And it's kind of a two-pronged effort that we make. On one side is learning how to master our mind, to recognize our mind objectively as not us, but it's a part of us that we are in charge of. Instead of letting our mind continue to be in charge of us, we have to learn how to take the reins and control it. Because otherwise, anger, emotions, all of these negative things just take over our lives. And we get sucked into this blender. And it's very frustrating, as you know, it's hard. So we have to stop the mind from beating us up, from beating up our lives. And then we have to learn how to attune ourselves to our true self, the soul, and create that bond between us and our soulmate, to create that bridge, make it ever expanding, make it so beautiful. And it takes effort. We're not working on our marriage when we do that, though. We're always working on ourselves. And so you and your wife or you and your husband don't have to agree to work on this together. You as an individual have so much power to start being positive, gracious, loving, all those things you promised when you got married. When you said, I will love you forever. What happened? You know, what happened to those vows? Well, we don't learn. It's not your fault. So now you have an opportunity, because you've come to the Marriage Foundation, to see what we have to offer, to start learning about marriage the correct way, because frankly, we're about the only ones who do it correctly, and get it and apply it. Learn and apply, learn and apply. But truly, if you're at this point, you got to stop going to your marriage counselor. You got to start getting the courses. You got to really do this the correct way. And write to us. You know, it's free to write to our counselors. And, you know, maybe, well, I wish I could say you just need a little guidance. But if you're at this point where someone is suggesting a trial separation, it's not good. Is it salvageable? Oh, yeah. We've always been the place of last resort for people. Even when I had the private practice, you know, this didn't come out of nowhere. I didn't sit down one day and go, oh, let me see, what would be a good way to save marriages? No, I was a divorce mediator in San Diego, very lucrative. And I had one couple come to me and ask, they were tearful. They said, and they've been through the process of marriage counseling. And they said, we don't want to get a divorce. We just don't know what else to do. Would you help us? And they thought and at that time, this was the early 2000s, the trend was if you have a problem with your marriage, it's all communication. Well, I was a communication expert. You know, I had my whiteboard and I helped solve problems for people in splitting their assets. So logically, they wanted my help. I said, well, let me look into it. At the time, I literally believed in divorce. I thought, why would you continue living with someone who's beating the crap out of you all the time? Because that's always the perspective that both of the couple have. And we take turns being the victim and the victimizer. And so I know there has to be something to this marriage. So I started looking into it, and I began with a question. Why do we get married in the first place? And I thought, when this question came to my mind, I was thrown back. I thought, why didn't I ever ask this question of myself? I was just like everyone else. I'm divorced. Not now, but I was. And so I thought, wow, I never asked that question, because that question creates answers that determine how you're going to behave in your marriage and what you're going to be doing to achieve the reasons why you got married. Did you follow that? So in other words, and then it took a while for me to really get, why do people get married? Everyone knows everyone gets married because they fell in love with someone. So, okay, they got married because they fell in love. Love Love. Not little love, not emotional love, but real love. Love. I thought, wow, of course. It's the highest achievement of a human being is to have love. And so then I get, okay, well, why is love so cool? Love is so cool because it's always accompanied by joy. Always. Always. Even when you lose someone close to you. I lost my son. And it tore me apart. I wasn't ready for that at all. But whenever I thought about him and the love came up, I felt joy. I didn't feel the anguish. I felt the joy. So love always is accompanied by joy. Okay, if that's why we get married, and that's what we want, then why do we criticize each other? Why do we argue over stupid little things or even big stupid things? And so for my first couple, I created a very simple template. You have free will. Are you going to behave in ways that bring love and joy? Or are you going to behave in ways that undermine love and joy? Pretty simple, right? And they loved it. And it helped them. And then the husband came back to me a little while after that and said, there's no reason why this shouldn't work. It's perfectly logical. Yes, it is. But I can't do it. I'm not able to control myself. She says something and I fly off the handle. Okay, I'll talk to my boss. God, what do I do here? And I meditated and I prayed. And then what came to me is this reality. In order to feel love and joy, one must learn how to master their mind. And along with this message came this incredible so technique that I take credit for. But I don't take credit for. It's so. Stop. Just stop the mind. As soon as it starts going in the wrong direction, stop it. Evaluate. That's the E. Which way do I want to go? Well, to a place of wisdom, W. And so now, that was the beginning of it. It's taken on many, many levels and dimensions to how we now teach it in the courses, but it's phenomenal. And if you look at our reviews, testimonials, you'll see it really works. You know, we don't get these testimonials like, oh yeah, it's much better, thanks. It's people get into it. They get it. It's deep. Your marriage is amazing. It's a miracle of life. It's the greatest gift God has given us mortal men and women, because we can evolve as human beings so in such a beautiful way. We don't have to go off and live in a cave or beat ourselves with a stick or anything like that. We become saints within our own marriage. Because what's the definition of a saint? Is someone who's close to God. What is love? Is God. God is love. So you get it all when you know how to do your marriage. It's amazing. And you know, people ask me, are you proud of what you're doing with the marriage family? Because as you know, we have over 40,000 subscribers now. We're growing and we're starting to train marriage counselors. No, I'm not proud. It's not me. I feel so blessed. But more than that, I feel blessed to have learned these things that we now share because of how it's affected my life. Trust me, my marriage is way better in terms of reward than any reward I could ever get in any other venue. And that's what I want for you too. We all of us here want that for you. So, okay, I'm talking too much, right? Go ahead, look into the course for women, look into the course for men. It's rare that both of you will take it at the same time, but that's okay. You can do that too. It's discounted when you do it. They're different courses. And get the benefits of marriage. It's so amazing. It's so amazing. And it's a free trial when you sign up. So that's it. I'm Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation. And I'm still active in it, and I probably will be until my last breath. And thank you. Like the video if you do, subscribe if you're smart, And God bless you, and take care. Thank you. See you next time.